Hi Year 4 and welcome to Thursday's writing lesson. We're continuing with our poem today. Let's get started.
But before that, let's take a look at some of the super writing that we've been sent this week. Ethan has sent in his river plan, where he's listed things that he can see in, on and around the river. His expanded noun phrases really help me to build up that picture in my mind. I especially like the patient, skillful fisherman and the tall, hungry heron. Well done, Ethan. Poppy's also sent in her river plan. I love the fact that she's used a key for things that she can see around the river, in the river and on top of the water. Again, Poppy, your descriptions really help me build up that picture in my head. I especially like the leafy green willow weeping. Fantastic work. We've had some more super river plans sent in from Polly and Thomas. I love the fact that Polly has used some alliteration in her expanded noun phrases. We've got bright blue frog and flapping flying birds. Brilliant work, Polly. And Thomas, your poem plan is fantastically presented. I love the fact that you've used different colours for things in the river, on the river and around the river. And again, your expanded noun phrases really make me think that I'm on that river with you. I love the towering tropical trees and plants. Fantastic work, guys. We can't wait to see what your completed poems look like. Right, today's lesson is going to be split up into two sections. The first section, we're going to finish writing our poem. We're going to do the last two verses. Then, after we've done that, we're going to come back together and we're going to look at how we can edit our poem to make it better. This week, we've been reading the poem Down the River by Matthew Sweeney. We have magpied some of his ideas and the structure of his poem in order to write our own. Let's read the last two verses of his poem together. I saw an enormous diamond in the river. Pink, green, orange and blue, colours changing in the sun. I stopped my boat by it. It was smooth and felt like china. I didn't want to climb on it, but some of the diamond fell off and I brought it home. Home in my boat down the river, the up and down river, the river that goes through the jungle. So in this verse of the poem, he sees an enormous diamond in the river and he takes some of it home with him. I really like the idea of bringing something home from our river adventure. What would you bring home? Maybe it might be a feather from a parrot. It could be a water lily flower, or maybe the petal from an orchid. It could even be a banana from a tree growing at the side of the river. Pause the video now and think about something that you could bring home from your river adventure. For my last verse, I've decided to take home a parrot's feather because it's so beautiful and colourful.
So in the poem that we read together, Down the River, he saw an enormous diamond in the river. But I'm obviously going to see a parrot because I need the parrot's feather. So I'm going to write, I saw. I'm not going to put enormous because I don't know if parrots are actually enormous. I'm going to put a magnificent. Magnificent. I saw, need to put that in. I saw a magnificent parrot. And I'm going to say where I saw the parrot. Well, I think it might be in a tree. I saw a magnificent parrot in a tree. And that's the first line of my last verse. On my next line, I'm going to describe what the parrot looked like. Well, we've already said that parrots are really colourful, so I'm going to describe the three colours that I can see. So I saw a magnificent parrot in a tree, yellow, and I need commas between my list of adjectives, yellow, blue and orange. Now remember, we want to take something home with us, but I don't really think I can take a whole parrot, so I'm going to say just one of the feathers. So one of the feathers fell off. One of the feathers fell off. And then my last line, so I decided to take it home. So I decided to take it home. Full stop. So following the structure of the Down the River poem, we need to write a final verse. So I've got mine here. Home in my boat down the river, the something something river. So in those blanks you need to put adjectives. It might be the up and down river or the winding flowing river. The river that goes through, and then obviously in my poem it would be the jungle, but yours might be Bewdley or through the Arctic.
Let's take a look at the chilly challenges for this section of today's lesson. So, chilly ones, I want you to write the last 2 verses of your poem using this scaffold below to help you. I saw a next to the river. What could that be? So in mine it was a parrot, but yours might be a flower or a tree. Then in these blanks you're going to put some adjectives to describe the thing that you saw. So I described a feather in mine. Some of the something fell off and I brought it home. And then your final verse, home in my boat down the river, the something something river. So 2 adjectives to describe the river. And then finally, the river that goes through, and wherever your river's going through. So mine was the jungle, but it could be Bewdley or it could be the town. Chilly 2s, I want you to write the last 2 verses of your poem using nouns and adjectives. And finally, Chilly 3, can you create the 2 final verses of your poem using that rich and varied vocabulary? Pause the video now and have a go at writing your final 2 verses. Then come back to me and we'll look at editing.
Well done Year 4, you have now finished writing your poem. From what you've sent in so far, they look brilliant, so you should be really proud of yourselves. So this next section of our lesson is all about editing. We're going to read back through what we've written so far to see if we can make any improvements. So on the flip chart, you can see one of the verses that I've written. Let's have a go at editing this together. So the first thing that we need to do is read it through. So let's take a look. I saw lots of objects in the river. A deadly vicious crocodile, smelly slimy algae, and graceful pink dolphin, a dangerous ravenous piranha, a cunning threatening rat staring. Let's take this poem line by line just to make sure we haven't made any mistakes. So my first line, I saw lots of objects in the river. Well, I can't see any spelling mistakes there. I've got my capital letter and my comma at the end of my line, so I'm pretty happy with that. So my second line, a deadly vicious crocodile, comma at the end. So can you spot my mistake? I've just spotted it. That's right, it needs a comma in between my adjectives. So here's my expanded noun phrase, deadly, vicious crocodile, comma between those adjectives. So I'm going to pop that in my purple polishing pen. So my next line, smelly, slimy, algae. Well, just like in this line, I've got my comma now in between my adjectives, but I can't see any mistakes. But I'm not really so keen on this word smelly. I think, especially Chilly 3s, we can have a little look at up-levelling that word. So I'm going to do what we do in school when we want to up-level. I'm going to circle it. Let's take a look in a thesaurus.
So you might have a thesaurus at home, which is brilliant. You can look for the word smelly. If not, if you type into Google online thesaurus and then have a look at this top one here. So if you click on it, you can search for synonyms at the top. So I'm going to type in the word smelly and I'm going to search for it. And you can see lots of synonyms for the word smelly. So there's stinking or foul or whiffy. I'm looking through these and I'm thinking which one would go in my line of the poem. I'm going to go with this one, rancid. Rancid, slimy, algae.
So now I've found the word that I want to change it to on the online thesaurus. I'm just going to write it above. So the word that I wanted was rancid. So now I've got rancid, slimy, algae. Let's look at my next line now. An graceful pink dolphin. Well, I can hear that that's not quite right. An graceful. It's this word here, an. It shouldn't be an. What should it be? That's right, it should be a. Let's take a look at the rule. So, an is used when the next word starts with a vowel, and the vowels are A, E, I, O, U. For example, an, and here's the word elephant. So the next word starts with a vowel, it's an E sound, so it needs an elephant. A is used when the next word starts with a consonant, which are all the other letters in the alphabet. For example, cat. It starts with a consonant, the C, so it's a cat. So following the rule, graceful starts with a G, which is a consonant, so it needs to be a graceful pink dolphin. So my next line is a dangerous ravenous piranha. Wow, Hopefully you will have been able to spot a spelling mistake in this line because you had the word dangerous as one of your spelling words 2 weeks ago. So I've spotted it too. Dangerous is spelled incorrectly, so I'm going to do my wiggly line and write the correction on top. So it's the root word is danger, and all we need to do here is add the OUS suffix that means full of. So full of danger, a dangerous, ravenous piranha. My final line is a cunning, threatening rat staring. Well, I can't see anything wrong here. I've got my commas, I've checked for my spelling mistakes. But if we're thinking about the steps to success and the structure of our poem, I've got my expanded noun phrase, adjective, adjective, noun, and I've got my verb, my doing word, staring. But I'm missing something here. What type of word am I missing here for? That's right, an adverb. So I need to think, how is the rat staring? Well, I think he might be doing it curiously. So I'm going to put that at the end, so I don't need this full stop anymore. Curiously. Full stop.
So now that we've edited my verse together and you know all of the things to look out for, it's now your turn. I want you to edit the poem you've been writing over the past few days. On the screen, you can see all of the things that I want you to look out for. So make sure that you've got your commas in the right places, maybe at the end of the lines and in between your adjectives in your expanded noun phrase. Check for your full stops at the end of your verses. Check this one, this is your spelling. Have you made any spelling mistakes? Can you up-level any of your vocabulary? Like we up-leveled the word smelly to rancid. Can you find any words that you've missed out by adding them in using this piece of punctuation? Maybe you want to add another adjective to make it an expanded noun phrase. And finally, check that you've got your correct use of a or an. Pause the video now and have a go at editing your poem. Don't worry if you haven't managed to write a poem this week, you can have a go at editing my verse. So here is my verse of things that I can see in the river. Can you follow the steps to success and correct any mistakes in this verse? I saw lots of wonders in the river, a bobbing, squawking bird, a swift dragonfly, a fallen, rotten log bobbing, a quiet wooden boat, and big, fragrant water lily. Pause the video now and have a go at that.
So that's the end of your writing lesson for today, Year 4. Join Miss Murphy tomorrow when she'll be talking you through performing your poem. I can't wait to see them. Bye!